So last time
Yeah.
we spoke, you were doing your Girl Friday thing, and you were in Wellington. Now you're doing your solo thing, and you're in Los Angeles. So tell me a little bit, what's going on? What are you doing?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I've been in LA for about 5 or so years. And so I was kind of working on the record during that time, in terms of just writing between Girl Friday albums and tours and all of that. And these were the songs that didn't really make the cut of my last album that just felt like they had more work, or it wasn't quite complete, or I wanted them to be recorded not just with me on GarageBand.
Right.
So they went kind of to the wayside in a folder for a while. And then I just kind of had a burst of energy end of 2018, actually. And I was like, right, I'm going to go back to New Zealand for a couple months, and I'm just going to like spend 3 days and just ham these out.
Yep.
So that's what I did. And then I ended up, and then the whole pandemic happened in 2019. So.
But you also got signed to Flying Nun, which is a fairly big deal. So how did that happen?
Yeah. Well, I did finish the album, and I was literally, when I heard back from Flying Nun, about to release it on Bandcamp. Like,
really?
It was because I'd reached out to them months and months earlier, and I hadn't heard anything back, and I didn't really want to wait around. I was like, I feel ready to just put this out. And so literally within the day I decided, all right, I'm just going to put it on, GarageBand. I got heard back. So yeah, that was crazy. So that only happened earlier this year.
Very cool. Because you did have a previous solo album that came out a few years ago, but I think people are surprised. I've read some reviews, and people are calling it your debut and blah blah blah. And it's like, so does it feel like a kind of new beginning for you with this record?
I mean, it's new and different in the sense of having the support of a record label and having the support of it, the distribution and all of that. I've been putting out things on my own since I was 16, 17, just through Bandcamp. I did an album when I was 18 that was properly recorded. I've put out several EPs. I've done my band Maple Syrup. I've done Girl Friday. I've done Sweater. I've done Speck. I've done a whole range of different bands. Jail Bay. It's like, so I've been doing this for a really long time, but I guess this feels like maybe the first thing that might have some legs or longevity to it.
And what makes you think that? Is it the music that makes you think that, or the circumstances around the release?
I think the music, because although I already feel like I've grown past a lot of that stuff, it's the most I've been able to put in terms of production and sonically come out how I kind of envisioned. So I think that feels like a big moment.
So tell me about how you got this sonic thing happening. What was going on?
Well, basically what happened was I met up with Mark Austin, who produced the record, and we just did a few days in I was going to say the Pyramid Club in Wellington. So we did all the main basics of the instrumentation there. And then throughout the year, I would just go into he's got like a studio, Flower Child Studios. And I'd just go into his house, and we've just spend days just recording, and I'd get on, he's got all these instruments. So I'd get on like the banjo or the keys or the, whatever was around that day. And
Did you play a lot of instruments?
I guess so. Yeah. For the most part, I play guitar. I played a lot of bass on this album as well. And I played a lot of piano and keys, and I guess different types of guitar as well. So
But when you mentioned the banjo, it was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, banjo, all of that. I just
cool.
like writing on different instruments. So I wouldn't be able to pick it up and say, play a song, but I can pick it up and write something.
Right.
Yeah. And then Mark had a few great friends of his as well that played, like David Long and stuff. So that got the cool, violin element and all of that sort of thing. So it just created a much bigger picture, which I think it really needed, rather than just the basic 4-part, band, which is also great, but
Yep. So what did Mark kind of add to how did you hook up with him, and what did he do, and what were your roles in making the record?
Well, I think he helped me to see that it could be bigger. So like I'm artistically, I'm very like, I'm very expressive. I just like to do it and then I'm done. I don't like to twiddle around on things for too long. Whereas he has that long, like, he's more patient with that type of thing.
Right.
So I think that helped, and also that with the combination of the lockdown really helped add all those different layers instead of just being like, all right, we're done, just, you know, put it out. And I basically came to him, I demoed out the whole album before and I sent it to him, so he was able to kind of hear where I was coming from as well, and I think that helped a lot in terms of us working together and building something. Yeah.
Cool. So the record starts with a tune called Always Always, which kind of is kind of a shortish thing, and then it segues to this Telegram 2 thing, and there's quite a bit of musical stuff happening along the way. Like I can hear influences from Patti Smith to the Velvet Underground mixed in with that stuff. Is that tell me how those 2 tracks kind of emerged.
You take cover from the cold in your long fur coat. You always loved the rain, but you love everything. And when you walk in the room, the crew is due to feel so groovy. You've got this thing in your eye that tells me everything is alright.
Well, I think we wanted to have an introduction, and I really wanted to have my bapchu, my grandmother, who's speaking on the first track.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So she features a lot on the record, and it's just this recording that I had of her when I interviewed her, and in the years before she passed away. And so I really wanted there to be a moment for that, and for the record to come into something from a certain space. So the kind of the background of maybe like where I was at, and all my influences, which was through her and my upbringing, and then coming into this, moving to LA and coming into this really fun explosion of like, whoa, you know. And so that was kind of the decision to put Telegram 2 right there. We had a few different arrangements, and then we ended up coming back to that, and it just felt right.
Yeah, and I was kind of hearing in the back of my head "Femme Fatale" somewhere in the melody that you were coming up with there. So it was a good thing.
Cool, thanks. That's really cool.
So have you been serving coffee to yuppies in LA?
And it's just another day, serving coffee to the yuppies of Los Angeles. Whatever happened to the days of anonymity and danger? Why don't you hear me when I say you're magnificent? You're fire in my insides.
I actually haven't. I've had a lot of different customer service jobs, and I've had a lot of I actually just did a catering shift yesterday and served this Euro space engineer 1920s Gatsby-esque party, which was crazy.
That sounds wild.
But yeah, the song was actually about this person I was seeing at the time, and the coffee shop that he was working at.
Right. Okay.
So it sort of was like seeing the beauty in somebody and seeing their kind of creative power and all that they're worth to you, and how that doesn't quite match up with the day-to-day reality of how they're treated from the world. So I think something everybody can relate to.
Right.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're doing an awful lot of different things. Like you have different jobs, and you're flying around from New Zealand. As a creative person, how does that work for you? I mean, do you have to kind of segment yourself and go compartmentalize who you are and what you're doing in different ways and ways of thinking and stuff?
I think all of it informs my writing. Like, I think one thing I've really learned about myself is I have to do things to get inspiration. I have to be really active in my life. And I am someone who loves not being in one place. I really thrive off of that. And I also am very simple. I don't need many things to kind of feel content. Right. Or to feel, you know, in terms of materialistic things, I'm very straightforward. So I think all of that has informed the writing a lot. and it's a kind of exhausting, I think, emotionally and everything like that. But I think it does help the work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have a song called "The Language of Flowers," and I've noticed that
Yeah.
flowers kind of come up here and there in your lyrics. So tell me about your relationship with flowers.
I love that question. There's also, I'm holding a lotus on the
That's
album
true.
cover as well.
Is that what that is? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I do like how it's.
It almost looks like
can't
you're
fully
giving somebody
tell.
the finger though, as well. So
Somebody said that. Yeah, some people have said that, which is hilarious because it's like it's a lotus. I mean, whatever the interpretation is, I love that. It's hilarious.
I put a flower in his suitcase so he'll never be alone. I'm a widow of my word, he's a lover of alone. I want boys who whisper in the same way he wants girls who scream, and I think he loves me for it. We don't know where it's going, but ain't it nice to know? I'll be here in the morning before I give you up and go.
So flowers, yeah, so that does come up a lot. I think for me, there's just obviously the great symbol of the flower, the birth of the flower, the death of the flower, the
Right.
beauty of the flower, but the strength and there's just so much great visual symbolism I get from that. And it's interesting that it's come up multiple times. It did end up being semi-intentional, but I think as I was writing, it definitely just is, for some reason, something I always come back to is like this idea of garden.
Right.
The garden, I think of that thing, fruitful, a fruitful garden just gives me a lot of visuals. And I think being that the album is quite hopeful, it feels like a relative subject to relate. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, another song that it comes up on is Heart in Reaction, which also has, I think, horns in there as well, if I'm hearing correctly, and a very kind of psychedelic vibe to it. So what's happening there?
Yes.
I will bring the beach home. I will give the living more than I always know. It is I'm living for the war. In all kind, the war. In all kind, the war.
Well, that's one of my favorite songs on the album, actually. Yeah, it's there's so much different stuff going on, but there's this record called by this artist called Lisa Germano.
Oh yeah.
And I actually have you heard of her before?
Of course, sure.
Oh my God. Okay. I didn't know how kind of well known she was or not, but to me that it's interesting because I heard her record a few years ago and I was like, oh my God, I want to make something like this where it's just kind of like got such a broad instrumentation.
Right.
And she's able to explore all these different sounds and stuff, but she just comes through so much in all of the songs that even though they're all different, there's something carrying through.
Yep.
And that was honestly one of the first albums I heard where I was like, okay, I can kind of see myself making something like that. And for some reason that song always reminds me of her a lot as well. But yeah.
Very cool. Lisa Germano. I'm trying to
Lisa
remember.
Germano.
She played violin a lot.
She played violin. She had all these different. I'm sure there was horns and
She might
all
have played with John
sorts.
Cougar Mellencamp. I'm not sure at some point. I'm just trying to remember. Anyway.
Yeah,
I digress.
because she was before she did her solo stuff. She was playing in all these other bands, and
Yeah.
I don't know how well known she became on her own, but just really stuck with me, that record.
Cool. So
Yeah.
now where you have like 3 different careers just in music going on. You have, I don't know how many bands
Yeah.
how do you sort it all out and what are you thinking about next?
Well, I'm thinking about coming back to New Zealand
Are
and
you?
focusing on
Yeah, good.
and
Oh yeah,
I
you said
will
you
be
got
coming back.
you got a spot, right?
Like you, yeah. So I'm going to
Yeah.
come back to New Zealand. I'm going to play live shows with my own band.
Ooh.
Then I'll get together again, and I just want to work on giving this album, some legs, I guess. And I'm already kind of midway through the next record, so I want to finish that and focus on that for a while.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
if you do get to play out, because I was just talking to Luke from Phoenix Foundation, he just had to postpone his solo tour because of
Right.
what's going on. You know, it's
Of
just too
course.
soon.
Yeah.
So once you hit the stage, what's it going to sound like, and who are you going to be playing with, and how are you going to?
Yeah.
How do these songs kind of sound to you when you're going to play them live?
Well, I love live performance. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. I consider myself more of a live artist, I would say at this point. Probably, hopefully when I'm older, I'll get better at the recording aspect of it. But yeah, I just love the energy of being on stage, and I love working with other people and all of that's like I feel like I'm most comfortable in that arena.
Right.
So we've got Ben Lemmy on bass. We've got my friend Tarquin Smith on drums. Samuel Austin sometimes plays drums as well.
Right.
We've
And
got
he's Mark Austin's son, is that right?
Mark Austin's son, and he plays on the record.
Yep.
Ben
drums
Lemmy
on the
also
record,
plays on the record. Yep. He plays drums on the whole record, and then Ben plays bass on a couple of songs and also backing vocals on a couple of songs too. And then my brother Albert River on guitar.
Right.
And then my friend Bella Garrera on backing vocals, and we'll get potentially my other friend Bella on keys. And yeah, I want to make a bigger sound than I had previously, though. Normally it's just kind of in a 4-piece. I just want to like expand the sonic landscape now.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like a good expanded sonic landscape.
Yeah.
So this is probably a terrible question, but do you think of yourself as a Kiwi artist?
Yeah, I do. I think I didn't for a really long time, and it took me leaving to understand the uniqueness of that and to own that. I think it was something I always ran away from. And when I was in Girl Friday too, we did a lot of 4-part harmonies, and I had to adjust my accent, to be more American when I was singing.
You're sounding pretty American even now.
Really? Oh, yeah, God.
Those R's are coming through loud and clear.
Oh,
I can understand you at least, because
Yeah, true. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, that's possible. I mean, I sort of am recently coming to I guess the 5 or 6 year mark, so I guess that would make sense. But
yep.
I think I really worked hard on this album not to let the America. That's something actually Mark helped me with as well. Like there'd be certain lines I'd sing, he'd be like, "You sound American," and I'll be like, "Okay, let's do it again."
Yep.
Go back. Yeah. So I'm really trying to not like force my accent or anything like that.
Right. But I'm just wondering if it's important to you to feel like a Kiwi artist.
I think it is now. Yeah, it is now. And especially because now I actually have more of a sense of my identity, because I was stripped away from everything being over here. And so I had to kind of like rebuild who I am or re-find. And on that quest, I think something I discovered was like, wow, okay, I really connect a lot to New Zealand. And there's a lot of things about where I'm from that are really sacred to me, and that I'm proud of. And so yeah, I think the answer is yes. And
of course, being on Flying Nun Records kind of just makes you a Kiwi artist by definition, doesn't it?
Yeah. I love it. Like I feel part of a lineage of just great artists, and so feel even more of an obligation to that, I think. Yeah.
Well, the label seems to be having a kind of rebirth with all sorts of cool people making amazing records and stuff on it. There's like Red Mountain and all those folks. So yeah, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool.
I'm very happy.
All right. So how long do you think it'll be before you're in New Zealand then? I'm
hoping to play shows in January. I'll be back in December.
Right.
And we'll see.
We'll see if we're all unlocked out.
Yeah, we'll see if next time you interview me, I'll be in the correct.
That would, well, I won't hold my breath, but it'd be great to see you on stage up at the Whammy Bar or something, and doing your thing.
I'll definitely be doing that.
Okay, excellent. It's a deal. Yeah. Well, thanks for spending some time talking to me. I love the record.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and everything.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.